All right, welcome. We are kicking off a brand new series designed to help you regain control in your IT contract negotiations. And we're starting with the big one, the hidden trap that can quietly drain your budget and just totally stifle innovation: vendor lock-in. Let's get right into it. Okay, before we properly dive in, we have to get through the important legal notice. This is a 20-module overview on regaining leverage in IT subscription contracts, and it's based on some really comprehensive research from Virtualization Options LLC. Now, this provides general principles, comes with no warranty, and is definitely not intended as legal advice. You should always work with competent legal counsel who's familiar with the laws and regulations where you are. So let me just ask you this. Have you ever felt completely, utterly trapped by a vendor's technology? You know that sinking feeling in your stomach when you realize that switching to something else would be an absolute nightmare? Well, that frustration, it has a name, and understanding it is the very first step to beating it. It almost always starts with the best intentions, right? Step 1, you find this great new tool and it solves a real problem for you. Step 2, you start building your team's processes and operations around it. And then, before you know it, you hit step 3. You are so deeply integrated that the thought of switching becomes this massive headache. It's too difficult, way too expensive, maybe even impossible. That, right there, is the lock-in cycle in action.
So let's put a formal name to it. This is vendor lock-in. It's a state of dependency where moving to a different vendor is so costly, so complex, or just so disruptive that you feel like you have no choice but to stay put. And let's be really clear here, this isn't just some technical inconvenience. No, this is a major strategic business risk that can absolutely cripple your budget and your team's ability to innovate.
So if you want to fight back, you've got to know your enemy. And vendor lock-in isn't just one single thing. It actually has 4 distinct phases. Let's break down exactly how this trap manifests inside your organization. First up, we have technical lock-in. This is what happens when your systems are fundamentally tied to a vendor's unique, one-of-a-kind technology. Think about things like proprietary APIs that don't play nicely with others, or data formats that you can't easily export. The technology itself becomes the cage. Here's a fantastic way to picture this. Imagine you're building a house, but you're using these custom-shaped bricks that only one company makes. Now, if you want to replace a wall, you can't just go to the local hardware store and buy standard bricks. Nope, you're forced to go back to that original supplier, or you have to rebuild the entire house from the ground up. All right, next we have contractual lock-in, and this one is all about the paperwork. The vendor literally uses the legal agreement itself as a barrier. You get bound by things like huge penalties for ending your contract early, long auto-renewal clauses that have really short notice periods, or terms that severely restrict your ability to move your own data. Then, of course, there's financial lock-in, which can feel like a massive anchor holding you down. This is all about the money you've already spent. We're talking about significant prepaid credits, volume commitments you've made, or just the sheer sunk cost of implementation and training your team. The financial hit of switching just feels way too big to justify. And finally, we have operational lock-in. Now, this one is probably the most subtle, but it might just be the most powerful. This is when your team's skills, your daily business processes, your entire workflow becomes deeply embedded with one specific vendor's platform. It just becomes the way we do things around here, and that creates this powerful organizational resistance to any kind of change. Now, here's a really key thing to understand. You don't just wake up one morning and find yourself locked in. It's not an event, it's a process. It's a slow, gradual series of what seem like small, sensible decisions that just accumulate over time until, snap, the trap is sprung. This journey usually follows 4 phases. It starts with the honeymoon phase of initial adoption. The tool is new, shiny, and the cost to switch is really low. Then comes expansion, where you start using more of their products. This leads to deep integration, where the platform becomes truly foundational to your business. And finally, you hit strategic dependency. That's the point where switching feels, well, impossibly high. So why does this even happen? I mean, is it just an unfortunate accident of using a really good product? Not at all. It's time to pull back the curtain. Let's take a look inside the vendor's playbook so we can understand the deliberate strategy behind all of this. Let's be absolutely crystal clear about this. Vendor lock-in is not an accident. It is a deliberate, meticulously crafted business model. Vendors invest a ton of money and resources into engineering this dependency across technical, contractual, and financial layers.
And this is what their playbook looks like. You can see it right here. A vendor will use a specific tactic, like a proprietary API, with the very clear strategic goal of making it technically harder for you to switch. They'll use sneaky auto-renewal clauses to limit your flexibility. They'll use bundling strategies to force you deeper and deeper into their ecosystem. Every single move is calculated.
And why do they do it? Well, the payoff for them is absolutely enormous. Having locked-in customers means predictable revenue streams. Investors love that. It crushes competition because, hey, you're not out there shopping around. It gives them immense pricing power when it's time to renew. It even gives them control over your tech roadmap. It is an incredibly lucrative model for them.
Okay, so let's just quickly recap the crucial points from this explainer. First, remember, vendor lock-in is a strategic business risk, not just a tech problem. Second, it's multifaceted. It's technical, contractual, financial, and operational. Third, it develops slowly, often without you even noticing. And most importantly, its whole purpose is to give the vendor all the power when it's time to renew your contract.
So we'll leave you with this question to think about. Now that you can spot the vendor's playbook, where is your organization most vulnerable? Because identifying that weakness, that's the very first step to regaining leverage. And we'll explore exactly how to do that in our next explainer.